What's going on, people? It's your man the YB back once again. Listen, I've got shivers. It's 5 hours later, yeah, no sleep, and I've still got shivers going down my spine. From both men's performances, to be honest, Crawford is the greatest of all time. I don't want to hear about no one else. None of them old school guys be moving like Crawford. They just ain't. They don't be punching like him either at 147. He is the greatest fighter of all time. Yeah, and I can't wait to watch him go 52-0 and get rid of the fraud Floyd Mayweather. Yeah, Floyd Mayweather was not doing that, people. Floyd Mayweather was going 12 rounds, no knockdowns against Robert Guerrero, Andre Berto, everyone. Life and death with De La Hoya. Yeah, this guy is an alien, Crawford. I didn't see this coming. I'm glad that I didn't bet no coins. My bet was Crawford on points. This guy was smoking dude in the second round. Heavyweights can't even do that. Yeah? Heavyweights ain't doing that, people. Smoking on dude. The first round he lost, and Spence was looking good, and there's kind of a cliche thing people say, oh, he's downloading information. Listen, people. Terence Crawford is downloading information. Honestly, this was the best I've ever seen Crawford look. And the man's 36 years old as well. Yeah? Oh, YB, you're always critiquing Floyd Mayweather. The reason it's important to critique Floyd, he says he's the greatest of all time. He wasn't doing this. At 36, he was complaining, oh, I'm old, and that's why I could. No. Crawford 36. Oops. Yeah? He's 36, and he out here, literally, I rarely can say this, he beat the brakes off of Errol Spence. Beat the brakes off him. And there was two predictions I made before this fight, or two claims, or two statements. I said, listen, if either man wins this fight by stoppage, then they're certainly at least the greatest of a generation. The second thing I said was, listen, if one of these men is able to break, or not break, is able to shut down the other man's offense, I didn't think it was likely that someone was going to shut someone down. Now, if it was any other fighter than Errol Spence, they would have been shut down. Errol Spence, towards the end, he was a little bit afraid of letting his hands go. However, not afraid, but listen, when you're getting popped like he was getting popped, you best believe it. But even so, this isn't giving credit enough to Errol Spence. Yeah, Terence Crawford sends shiver down my spine. I haven't felt this way. Yeah, obviously it's more powerful now for me, but because he's the real deal. This ain't no Conor McGregor. But when Conor McGregor knocked out Aldo in 15 seconds. This Terence Crawford performance outstrips that 10 times, in my opinion. This is the real deal. Aldo washed up, and how good is really Aldo, we don't know. We know how good Errol Spence is. And Crawford, he is like a god in the ring, people. It's unbelievable. I didn't see Errol Spence land one punch properly the whole fight. The guy in there just looking like, honestly, like Neo. And he's not just, Floyd has some Neo moments, but he ain't countering. The speed of Terence Crawford's just like, what? It looked like Errol Spence was in slow motion. Honestly, Terence Crawford's hands were just everywhere. and then I've seen fighters here in there and their hands are everywhere, but they're slapping away or they're messy and getting countered. Terence Crawford is always in a position to punch and he's always in a position to defend. Like, I've never seen anything like this, people. Not once in history have I seen something like this. And the guy, he's full of beans. He ain't running out of gas doing it. He was in there. I saw Terence Crawford was breathing through his nose the whole way through. This guy, we've never seen anything like it, people. Not Usyk. Don't no one talk about Usyk either. Yeah. Oh, but not Usyk. Yeah. Not Usyk ain't doing this. He a heavyweight, 220-pound man. He ain't stopping none. Do you understand? He ain't punching no one up like this. He just ain't. He ain't doing that. He in there with Chisora going life and death, with AJ life and death, and Errol Spence and Errol Spence is leagues above AJ and what's his name and Derek Chisora. So don't talk about Usyk no more. Forget about Usyk. Forget about Lomachenko. None of them dudes are doing it like this, stopping the free belt champion. And it wasn't just stopping. It wasn't a lucky punch. He beat the brakes off him. And like I said, I got shivers going down my spine again. I have to give big credit to Errol Spence, man. He a real one, yeah? This weren't no fake Paul. No fake Jake Paul, oh, I'm from Ohio. Errol Spence, he said he was bringing it. Now, he was completely outgunned and outmatched, yeah? But he kept getting up, and he didn't just keep getting up. Yeah, this weren't no AJ Ruiz. Oh, I'm gonna get up and look like a pleb. Errol Spence. Now, is it fair to say Errol Spence is one-dimensional compared to Terence Crawford? I think it is now. It's clear. I don't even know. That's the thing about that's the thing about Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford doesn't have a game plan. He literally. A lot of fighters talk about it. Oh, he's downloading. No, Crawford doesn't. You can't say Crawford was defending. For example, it's clear when you watch Floyd. It's clear what he's doing. He just trying to pot shot and run around the place. That's clear. Terence Crawford could have easily won this fight just with a jab. Yeah, Terence could have took his corny ass out there on some Floyd Mayweather. Oh man, well, Errol Spence didn't push me, so I just jabbed him. No, Terence don't want to do that. He trying to smoke on Dude if he can, and that's what he did. Terence was popping him in the face with a jab. He was going forward and pressuring when it was right to do so. He was putting Dude down. He was It's like, wow. Again, yeah, spine shivering. There's no other way of saying this, people. This guy is the greatest of all time. I can see him going undisputed 140, undisputed 147. Jamel can get smoked. Because people before the fight, myself included to some extent, were saying Terence Crawford looking drained at 147. This guy ain't even full of beans yet, in that sense. Terence Crawford, for example, when you look at Canelo going from 160 to 168, he didn't, you know what I mean? He looks like he's full, you know, he doesn't look bone dry anymore. Obviously, naturally, when you go up so many weights, at some point, you're not losing water, or at some point, you're losing little water. You're not really draining yourself. You just add in that kind of intramuscular fat or whatever. Terence Crawford was bone dry on that scale. So it's not like, for example, Floyd at 147. I think he even said he don't even go up in weight kind of thing. Floyd comes in the ring at like 150 or whatever. He was full at 150. I don't know how this guy doing that, Terence Crawford, but he looks like an alien. He's an alien, man. He just keep going up in weights and looking dry. Like, this guy can go 140, 147, 154, and 160. 168, we'll see. Honestly, yeah. I need to see how the weight looks, but I can see this dude beating. Honestly, because that's the one thing Bivol don't have. That's why I don't want to hear about Bivol either. I don't want to hear about Bivol. I don't want to hear about Beterbiev. Terence Crawford is the best fighter in the whole history of the game, in my opinion. And there ain't no one even close. I don't want to hear about Inoue either. Inoue wasn't doing this, people. Inoue was boxing with Fulton, and then he got, you know what I mean? He wasn't doing this. He wasn't doing this. Yeah, fair enough, Inoue can punch, but he ain't Terence Crawford. That's what he's not, for sure. Forget about all them names. Anyone who around now, forget about them. They ain't doing this, people. It's not. If they was, I'll tell you they ain't doing it. This guy he the guy. Now, on to Errol Spence. Errol, man. Errol, I love Errol, truth be known. Man, he did exactly what he said he was going to do. Yeah? Errol's not the most, what's the word? Well, it's not fair to say that. Compared to Crawford, he clearly ain't the most technical, yeah? But Errol Spence has one game plan, and he rolled it till the wheels fell off. And even when, I rarely, for example, when AJ was getting punched up by Ruiz, yeah, I was happy to see AJ get knocked spark out. Why? Because he weren't really trying to fight in there. But because Errol Spence was trying so hard in there, he was trying to find a way. His shots just, again, he didn't land a clean shot the whole night. His shots just, they weren't having the impact. And I don't know what it is. I talked about the Avanesian fight with Crawford. When Crawford's in there, yeah, people are hitting him and the shots are bouncing off. It's like what? And then when he hits them, they're armor piercing. Terence Crawford has some Anunnaki alien armor piercing shots, and they're quick. Like Canelo can hit you, yeah, but he's quite slow. He likes to plant his feet, yeah, big singles. Terence Crawford's in there with sublime speed, sublime cardio, hitting you with 3-4 pieces that are heavy, popping your head back, popping your head all over the place, and he's doing it all day, and he's calm doing it. Like, but like I said, it's rarely. I normally like to say, go until it's over. I don't believe in referees so much, but seeing the way Errol Spence was fighting, this is genuinely one of the first times I've been happy for a stoppage. Spence complained a bit towards the end, or when he got stopped, he complained, but yeah, man, he needed, that's one guy, he a real guy, yeah, he needed saving from himself, because that was only going one way, and I think there was 3.5 rounds left. He was going to go out cold, for sure, yeah, and for me, he earned the respect of, you know what, fair enough, man. Like, especially, like, for example, people say, OIB, you thought that Joyce and Zhang should have carried on. The reason I thought Joyce and Zhang should have carried on is because Joyce hadn't been down yet. Yeah, Spence had been down like 3 or 4 times, and for a man who's never been down before to be down 3 or 4 times, and the way he was getting beat, like 10 out of 10 for effort, yeah, but from Spence, but that's all it was. He was never going to do none. It was evident after round 3 or 4 that it was over. The fight was over essentially, but that shouldn't take away from Errol Spence's spirit, man. This was actually, if Errol Spence had the firepower, I don't know what it is about Crawford. I don't know what kind of DNA he got, yeah, but like I said, he seems to be fighting in a plate of armour. And I guess it must be his defence as well. His defence is tight. It's tight, man. The shots, none of them are going through. So when you're throwing things and they're bouncing off, Crawford hit, like, I've never, people, I've got to say this, I've never seen, name me a fighter through history. People talk about Leonard and that lot, they weren't doing it, they just weren't. I've seen him in there winging away, but he ain't winging away, is he? He in there with the top fighter, unified champion, and not one shot landing. I didn't see one shot land clean. For how many rounds was it? 9 rounds. Didn't see one. Yeah? But again, I want to spend some time giving Spence credit because most dudes these days, yeah, they would have shut down. Most dudes these days, AJ, I've been down a few times, let me backpedal now. AJ meant to be a big hard ass. Oh, I'm a big hard ass, I'll beat bums up. He get put down and he's scared to fight. Errol Spence, despite being completely outgunned, despite being completely clowned, he rode it till the wheels fell off, man. And he was still trying to ride it some more. You know what I mean? Salute to Errol Spence, salute to Texas, salute to New York, man, because he a real one, which is rare in this game. A lot of people do the rah-rah, talk. Yeah, whether he won or lost, he brought it. He brought it to the end of the day, yeah, I've been saying for a while, all you can do is ride, you know what I mean? That's all you can do, is give all your effort. Daniel Dubois, yeah? Dubois need to watch this. Because it could, again, Usyk no Crawford is just not, but this could go the same way for Daniel Dubois. This is possibly the best Daniel Dubois can hope for. Have a good go. No one can sit here and say, oh, Spence and have a good go. He had a good go. Yeah, every time he got knocked down, he didn't really backpedal. Watch it back. Every time Spence got knocked down, yeah, that's part of the reason I think he survived so much. Every time Spence got knocked down, he didn't, I'm knocked out, come and get me kind of thing. A lot of fighters do that, which is natural, I guess. When you're hurt, but it's what's the word? It's inverse, or yeah. You shouldn't do that, because no one in a fight has ever been turned off by someone going backwards. The minute you start backpedaling, that's basically an invitation. I'm not even a pro in the game, obviously not. But for people, imagine being a pro in a game. It's a telltale sign. I've just put this guy down and now he's backpedaling. That's basically a big welcome sign. Come get me. I'm sweet. Spence, to his credit, every time he went down, he came back fighting. Man, you know what I'm saying? I got shivers down my spine again. This was apart from the skill difference, yeah. Apart from the skill difference, this was a modern day classic in terms of effort. Yeah, how rare. When was the last time you saw 2 fighters give it all? Tell me which one. Tell me which one. Tell me time you saw 2 champions give it like this and keep pushing and pushing and pushing. I can't tell you. Yeah, and getting up and going down and getting up and going down and getting up, man. You ain't see this one. You ain't. And we ain't see, like, it was all around, man. Genuinely. I mean, I could talk about it all day. Truth be known, I'm a bit sad it's over now. You know them ones. I got a bit of them down ones after the fight. Right. But I'm gassed off Terence, man. I'm gassed off him. Yeah, and I'm going to do a video on this in its own right on my other channel, YB USA. I'll be, for the next month or so, I'll be covering all the Errol Spence and Terence Crawford stuff, so go and check that out, YB USA. Nonetheless, I do think, obviously, I love Crawford. He's the greatest fighter of all time for me now. But, and there's no reason this won't be the case, people. There's nothing left for Crawford at 147. My point, there is a particular rematch clause for this fight, Crawford and Spence. The rematch clause is the winner gets to decide what weight the rematch is at. Now, before the fight, Errol Spence was saying, when I win this fight, the rematch will be at 154. And even after the fight, last night, if you listen carefully, Errol Spence said 100%, and that's the thing, he didn't do no politicking. Yeah, AJ, when he loses, he comes back and says, I have to speak to my team. I'm like, what? What do you mean? Are you not a man? Do you know? What do you mean you need to speak to your team? Your team tell you what, AJ? You're a grown-ass man. Do you want it or not? Big corny-ass dude. That's how you know people don't really want it. Yeah, the minute you get whooped here and you start politicking, oh, yeah, oh, speak to my team. What? No. Yeah? Your team can't fight for you, corny ass. Anyway, ERROL Spence came out and said, 100% I want the rematch. And then the guy said, would you want it at 154? And he says, hopefully. Now, this is the only thing that it doesn't take away from Crawford's win. But I do have to admit, ERROL Spence looked... Now, was it Crawford looking so quick? I don't know. But Spence did look early on, man. He just didn't look right. You know what I mean? He looked gassed after about a round or two. And for a man... Like, listen, truth be known, I think... That's what I'm saying is I think Terence Crawford does the same at 154 to him. Bottom line. But because of Crawford's greatness, because of that golf we saw, I don't even really want to watch the rematch at 147. I don't think... There's no point. I think the rematch makes sense at 154. Why? Because 154, Crawford versus Spence, it adds a new dynamic. Yeah, you can't... There's no more, oh, he's drained. Which could be... From what we saw, yeah, it could be... I ain't gonna lie to you. Can I sit here and say ERROL Spence looked the best he ever has? No. Can I sit here and say he looked during the fight, he looked a bit drained? He did. So, what makes sense for Crawford now? Because he can decide. He can do 147 or 154. If Crawford wants to maximise his greatness, I'd go for the 154 rematch. Then there's, you know what I mean? And it also sets up Crawford well for Jermell Charlo. Yeah, ERROL Spence at 154 is like a great middle fight, if that makes sense. You already beat the guy, you already stopped the guy. So go up in weight, get acclimatised to that weight at 154. Smoke on Spence. Smoke on Tim Tszyu. Come on, people. You know what I mean? Smoke on Tim Tszyu. And then smoke on Jermell. That's another historic run kind of thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Floyd Mayweather weren't doing that, people. Are you serious about Floyd? I don't want to hear anymore. But Floyd's a bum compared to... He just is a bum. In my book, he a bum. He wasn't doing this. He just weren't, people. Got life and death in this. Pity-pattying. He just weren't this level. Floyd is a B-level fighter and Terence Crawford's an A-star fighter. That's just what it is. Based on the facts. Oh, the GOAT. He's a clown. Yeah? Floyd Mayweather's a clown to call himself the GOAT in Terence Crawford's presence, in my opinion. A complete clown. Floyd can't know boxing if he thinks he's the greatest over Crawford. He can't. Not even a bit. Yeah? Oh, my hands are sore. Well, so retire then. Yeah? If your hands are sore at 36, retire and shut up about being the GOAT. Like, you can't have both ways. Are you the GOAT or not? Yeah? Because there's real dudes like Crawford out here at 36, not complaining. Yeah? They busting dudes up. Weird ass dude. Do you know what I mean? But like I said, Crawford rematched this guy at 154 and beat him again. Because the thing about Crawford is, he ain't out here politicking. Yeah? That's part of the reason Floyd didn't want no belts. Because Floyd just liked picking bums. That's the truth of it. That's why Floyd never undisputed. There's a reason for that, people. He wanted to fight bums. Crawford really about it. Crawford could have sat back with his one belt and picked this bum and picked that bum. He went straight there. So Crawford like that old Roy Jones style. Roy Jones mentioned it. I wanted to fight the best. I went up and fought Tony. I went straight up to heavyweight kind of thing. Crawford wanted to be the best. And beating Spence at 154, that proves that kind of thing. That's the next best fight for me, 154. The rematch at 147, no point. Yeah, I'll watch it, but I mean, it'll be cringe. The 154 adds a whole new dynamic to it. Now, from what I understand, ERROL Spence was the A side in the first fight. And I believe Terence Crawford probably got 60-40 in the first fight. Now, the rematch clause, normally 60-40 fights, the rematch clause normally goes 50-50 for the winner. So Terence will be on 50-50 for the next fight, or 60-40 for the winner. Either way, what I will say is, whilst I believe Terence Crawford should push the 154 narrative for his own greatness, I think ERROL Spence needs to humble himself. Why? I think if ERROL Spence wants to rematch at 154, which is what I advise, if I was ERROL Spence this morning, or certainly within the next week, I'd reach out to Crawford and say, listen, man, fair play to you. And I got a lot of respect for the whooping you give me. And on that basis, whatever that rematch clause contract was, yeah, essentially, I'd tell ERROL Spence to go hat in hand on this one. Yeah, ERROL Spence, take your hat off, walk to Terence Crawford's door, knock it, and say, listen, man, the rematch clause was 60-40. if you do this rematch at 154 with me, if you give me a chance I might get back at 154, call it 70-30 kind of thing. Whatever it is, take 10% off. Or X amount of percent. Yeah? Because that's the only hope he got. Yeah? So if Errol Spence is really about trying to win this next fight, F the money. The money, even if Errol Spence loses twice, the money will come. He can fight a load of people for 3-4 mil for the rest of his life, kind of thing. So Errol Spence need to humble himself and go to Crawford and say, listen, man, not 50-50 that it was supposed to be for you, or not 60-40 that it was supposed to be. I want this rematch at 154, and because you know what I mean. That's kind of given and taken. Bear in mind, from what I understand, Terence Crawford had to take. He had to be the B-side, yeah. And Terence Crawford took the B-side. So now, even if it's 60-40, Errol Spence or his team, someone needs to reach the hand out, yeah, and kind of, because it'll be hard for Crawford to turn that down when a man who he's just beat is humbled in front of him. Now, I'm not saying, I don't expect no less. I don't expect Errol Spence to go in the ring in the rematch and be humble. But I'm saying at this point in time, when a man beat the brakes off you like that, yeah, and you want your chance at legitimate get back. Because I think there's zero chance. There's zero chance Errol Spence can do anything at 147. He's only taken more damage. He's only going to be another 6 months older. Yeah? And if Errol Spence has good management, that's what they'll do. Because also, I believe on the pay-per-view side, in as much as the Crawford versus Spence 2 fight, I don't think it's going to do great numbers at 147. At least at one. So for example, 60. So Errol Spence getting 40% of a 147 rematch. That I think that's going to work out less than 30% of a 154 rematch, because 154, it's like, yeah, well, he was great. You got a narrative to sell. It only gets worse for Spence now. And we've seen, I do have to admit, and I mentioned this, one of the few people, I heard people on the radio cast, who was it? I think it might have been Carl Frampton or Mia Khan. They were saying, yeah, well, we've never seen Errol Spence buzzed. Well, we have. Yeah? The writing was on the wall, really, after Ugas. Ugas clipped him in round 6. Yeah, and he was stumbling backwards. So we've seen the deterioration. Yeah, there's no doubt. I can't lie to you, people. Errol Spence, something was missing there. His eyes look a bit, I don't know what it was, but for sure, listen. I made this clear before the fight on my other channel. Errol Spence has been at 147 for 15 years, people. Yeah? Who does that? Terence Crawford's up 12 pounds from 135, I believe, or maybe even 130 he might have been going down to. So he's gone up a few weights. Errol Spence is 33 and he's not gone up no weight. There's no one can tell me that, especially as you get older as well. When you're 23, it's not the same as being 33. It's just not. Yeah? Naturally, you don't recover as quick. You need that. You need them calories. You need that fat. You need that energy. You just do. So if Errol Spence is serious about getting his get back, don't sit there and say, oh, well, yeah. If Errol Spence is serious about getting his get back, because it's basically a trade-off. Really, if I was Errol Spence, I'd go as low as 25% for what it's worth. Yeah? Because what's it about? Errol Spence is never going to be starving for money. So what is it about? If you're genuinely serious, yeah, about winning the next fight, you need to go there and tell Crawford, listen, man, it was supposed to be 60-40 to you. Give me it 154 and I'll give it, and I'll do it at 25% or 30%. You know what I mean? Because there ain't there's nothing else to be said, people. There's nothing. He's got no hope. Like, legitimately, he got no hope. None. Zip. Nada. Nizzy. None. None at all. None at all. And that's what frustrates me with these goofy teams. These goofy teams, they don't understand. They don't understand the soul of the game. And I can't blame the teams, because end of the day, Errol Spence, he's supposed to be his own boss. But these teams, yeah, they're often just trying to shekel. Oh, well, for example, when have you seen a team do that? When have you seen a team make a sacrifice for pride? I want to win this fight. The money, whether you get, let's say it's a 10 mil pot, yeah? Whether Errol Spence gets 4 million, or 2.5 or 3 million, is that really going to change his life? No. But having a legitimate chance, even psychologically, people, yeah? The psychological benefit of Errol Spence knowing, I've got a £7 I've got a brand new thing to experience. That narrative in Errol Spence's mind, you know what I mean? What narrative is Errol Spence going to carry into this next fight? Damn, he beat the brakes off me, and now I'm about to take my brake beating ass in there again, 6 months older, 6 months more war-torn, and do it again. No. Yeah? His goofy team need to step up and give him some proper advice, man. Anyone who really wants to see Errol Spence have a go, yeah, he need to be basically get the begging pot out. You know what? For what it's worth, even if it was 20%, I'd go down to. Because you got no hope. Yeah? I'd say to Errol, listen, man, you're due to get 40% in this rematch. So basically 4 mil. You're due to get 4 mil. What's going to change your life more? Yeah? Taking the 40% and 4 mil at 147. Or 2 mil at 154. You can't tell me Errol Spence is dying out for 2 extra mil. It doesn't make no logic. And plus, on the flip side is, if you beat Terence Crawford, then it sets it for a trilogy, which is the biggest fight in the game kind of thing. If you don't, if you think you're smart and, oh no, I'm going to stick with the money and just get an extra few mil and get my ass beat again, then the third fight's gone completely. Your career's finished completely. And you've done it for what? Not finished, sorry, but your legacy, you're always going to be the B fighter in this generation. Like, at this point, Errol Spence's team should be doing everything they can to try and level the playing field here. And the only way they're going to do that, it's not going to be in skills, people. Yeah, Errol Spence could work for another 20 years. He ain't never going to get the skills. The only hope he can hope for is that having some more beans, add some speed, add some endurance, add some power. That's his only hope. And he ain't doing that no other way than adding some weight. That's the only way this can, maybe Errol Spence, well, naturally, when you add more weight, you can take better shots. These are the things he need to bring into play, because he ain't going to outskill Crawford. He's just not. He's not going to do it. So, that's my advice, but they won't listen. They won't listen. They'll go in there, be stubborn, and he'll get punched up again and just play himself, but whatever. Let me know your thoughts, people. Amazing fight. Yeah. Mate, I'm so grateful to be in the presence, or not in the presence, but of pure greatness on both sides, to be fair. Errol Spence, 10 out of 10 spirit. Yeah. Terence Crawford, the greatest fighter of all time. Let me know your thoughts, people. Smash the like button, subscribe. Oh yeah, and big shout out to my doggy. Part of the Rat Pack for coming through and boosting the coin up. No doubt about it. Smash the like button, subscribe. And